One thing we've learned at this workshop is that traditional approaches to fighting transnational organized crime largely don't work. As the global economy has doubled, so also has the economic value of illicit activity. And so the standard approach to dealing with transnational organized crime, in other words, fighting it, clearly isn't working. So one of the things that this group might be able to do is to offer up to governments who are interested in putting ideas, fresh ideas on the table, new ways of looking at the problem of transnational organized crime and new ways of thinking about potential avenues for fighting it. What do I mean by that? Well, in a sense, there's only one real meaning of the term problem in which you would say that transnational organized crime is a single problem. And that is, it's a threat to the rule of law. And it's a threat to the rule of law everywhere. But transnational organized crime is a phenomenon that manifests itself in different places in very different concrete ways. So in one country, it's a very specific kind of problem. In another country, it's a different one. Transnational organized crime shares the characteristic of, in all cases, involving a flow from a source to a destination. The flow could be goods, it could be money, it could be people, it could be endangered species, but it involves a flow. Organized criminals are organized. They're good at designing around obstacles. So the traditional approach to fighting organized transnational crime is a cat and mouse game. As long as we approach it that way, we can always expect organized criminal networks to find ways to design around the obstacles we put in their way. What's an alternative? Well, one alternative is trying to suck the oxygen out of transnational organized crime. In other words, demotivating it. What is it that gets somebody involved in transnational organized crime? One of four things, or perhaps a combination of four things. Economic necessity. People feel that they're in dire circumstances, and they think that they have no choice but to participate in criminal activity. Economic opportunity. People see huge opportunity for massive profits, lavish lifestyles, and so forth. Fear. Some people are coerced into participating in transnational organized crime. And lastly, some combination of lust for power or prestige or thrill-seeking. Normally, people would not participate in criminal activity if they could satisfy their needs and desires legally. And so one way of fighting transnational organized crime is trying to find ways of satisfying those kinds of needs through legal channels. Demotivation is a potential alternative frame. And what I would like to see the Constructive Powers Initiative do is put on the table ideas for thinking about how not to fight transnational organized crime so much as demotivate it. And we heard a very good example just this afternoon when the former ambassador of Turkey, Rafat Akınay, described Turkey's approach to fighting illicit heroin trade. In effect, Turkey, through national policy instruments, made it attractive for poppy farmers to grow and sell their poppies to the government, who then sold them to pharmaceutical companies. And this involved a simple adjustment in national policy, highly effective in sucking the oxygen out of that particular trade. You can do this upstream, source countries, downstream, destination countries, and countries en route for any flow involved in any particular kind of transnational organized criminal activity. I think there's a lot of exciting potential here that's not explored simply because we approach it as a traditional law and order problem that requires that we fight it and doesn't really think about the alternative of starving it.